What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of that hobby show after a week off. And you may be wondering where Houston from Chasing the Graph is at. He is actually on vacation. So I have our resident CPBL expert, Daniel Shih, filling in for us. So,
Hi,
how
yeah,
you doing, Daniel?
I'm doing well, and coincidentally, I'm 3 hours away from the city called Houston. So,
Oh, nice.
so I guess I feel I can, in a way, fill in for Houston.
Yeah, there you go. Awesome. So, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about was you've kind of collected baseball cards,
Yeah.
but now it's like instead of dipping your toes in the water, you've kind of dove into the deep end.
Well, I don't know what deep end means,
Oh,
but
of like a swimming pool.
no. I know, but like I don't know what in the baseball cards world does deep end. What it's because I don't buy the fancy auto cards. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I don't spend $500 for a card. I buy those I I buy those where I buy the Taiwanese players cards, which are like even $10. And I go like, oh, that's up expensive. Because most of them are in the minor leagues, and the few that does make it to the major leagues and have cards printed, besides Wayne Chen and Chien-Ming Wang, in like 2007 to 2015. Other than those are like either they didn't make it as far, they didn't work up in the major leagues long enough to have the prices go all the way up. Besides Yu Chang right now, because he's in the league right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, sure, I would say I'm in the deep end of the pool.
Well, I'd seen your last video or the last time you went live of the open
Yeah.
cards, and it was a pretty long video.
Oh yeah. Well, it's funny because that was about when I start. I well, so what happened was my sister and my mom visited Houston in the states. My sister moved to right, like she got into rice, so
Okay.
so my mom brought my sister to Houston. I drove to Houston to like help him settle down and all of that. So I was in Houston for about 2.5 weeks,
Oh, okay.
and right before I left, that was when I started to figure out how to use eBay for baseball cards.
Yeah.
And like I'm pretty sure you remember the first couple of weeks you started using eBay to find baseball cards, right? Like it was when like every day you're probably sending 3 orders kind of
Well,
thing.
I'm
Yeah.
not going to date myself, but when I first started using eBay, I had to pay for my cards with money orders.
Oh
So
wow.
there was
Okay.
no PayPal. Uh,
Okay. Yeah.
I don't even think I was old enough to have. So I had a checking account, but at
Okay.
the time I didn't even have a credit card. Uh,
Yeah.
thank God I didn't, because I would have been buying a lot more baseball cards. But
Yeah.
uh,
So
oh, go ahead.
yeah. So I started to use eBay, and then I had to leave Austin. So like for those 2 weeks, I kept on ordering things because I was like, I need to get Manny Banuelos because he was pitching for the Guardians. Oh, I need to get Tim Millville. Oh, I need to, and then those that pack of cards that you saw was accumulated in a 2 to 3 week period. So I was really excited to get back to Austin. I was very like on the way back. I was, you're leaving I was leaving my family, so I was sad. But at the same time, I knew, okay, I'm going back. I finally get to see my cards, and so that's why the pack was, I didn't buy those in one day. It was like a 2 week whole thing. And even my roommate, because I was away, so my roommate had to pick up all the cards at the mailbox. And he goes, bro, like when you get back, it's gonna be like Christmas. It's gonna be like you're gonna go crazy. And yeah, it was a lot of cards. And the following week, my mom came to Austin. A few more packages got here. She probably saw a third or maybe a quarter of the car. Like when she was here, the amount of cards that came into the mailbox was probably about a quarter of what you saw,
Mhm.
and she went, aren't you a little too deep into this? I'm like, oh yeah, probably. And she hasn't even saw the big one, so
Oh, really?
yeah, no, she hasn't
Oh,
seen
that
it.
is awesome. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I loved your video because of the enthusiasm that you had, and uh, it kind of made me sad though because there's like as a collector now we've become so numb to the cards. It's just like you're trying to get that next fix and you're like, okay, whatever, don't like this guy, don't like this guy, but you were excited for everything and I loved it.
Well, that's because I get the single cards. I don't get the
Yeah,
packs.
yeah,
Um,
I don't either because I can't find packs anymore.
yeah,
It's in the long run it's a lot cheaper just to buy the single that you want. You may
right,
end up paying a little bit more for it, but
right.
it's still cheaper than overpaying for a box and
Yeah,
not even getting it. But
yeah,
so one of the things I wanted to ask you that we didn't get the chance to talk about last time, because last time you were on the show, it was mainly about CPBL. But
right.
so you're a Yankees fan,
Yes, yes.
and
When
how?
you see A Rod, well,
Yeah,
that's Otani, and oh, hold on, that way. That's Jeter, Teixeira, Vince Young. That's because I'm at Texas, but yeah,
hmm.
Yankee fan. Yeah.
So how long did you live in Taiwan?
Uh, my till college basically.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so 18, 19 years.
yeah,
So
yeah.
how did you become a? I'm assuming it's because of Chin Ming Wang.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So he was the, because I was thinking he's a Yankees fan, but why not a Dodgers fan? Because when I was younger, but I'm kind of considerably older than you. Uh,
Right.
because when I was younger, it was the Dodgers that really
Yeah,
were signing the guys from Taiwan. You
yeah.
know, Hong
Well,
Chi
because first of
Ko.
all, the Dodgers suck,
Yeah.
and I when I started watching, it was Chen Ming Wang. So the Dodgers had Chen Jingfeng, the first hitter. They
Yeah.
never really gave him a chance, right? So, and that was when I was like 2 years old or something. Like I wasn't
Oh
much
God.
after that. Um, Hong Chi Kuo was another one.
Yeah.
When I was watching, it was the
Oh yeah.
two-headed. It was the two-headed monster between Jiaming Wang
We
and
forgot
Hu
one.
Qiko and Hu Jinglong as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, who
Yeah.
well, Hong Qiko wasn't pitching that well. Like it was Jiaming Wang was dominating the league for a 2 to 3 year period. Like
Mhm.
he was the ace of the New York Yankees. Like can you imagine that like he was he wasn't the Garrett Cole. Well, it's a different timeline in terms of the career, but you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying. Like Chen Ming-won was next to was you can argue was a better pitcher at when he was at his peak than Mike Mussina and Andy Pettit. Like that's how good he was dominating the league. He was second in the Cy Young voting in 2007. Before he got hurt, and then before he got hurt, the year before he got hurt, the year when he got hurt, that season he was competing against the likes of remember Cliff Lee,
Yeah.
CC Sabathia when they were when they were pitching for the Indians and the Yankees and Indians were going at it. Chen Ming Wong was like the Yankees' hope for hopefully we can compete with Cliff Lee and CC Sabathia. And so Chen Ming Wong was really, 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 really good.
Yeah.
Um, Hong Chi was fighting through a lot of injuries when I first started. He was in the beginning of the transition to become a relief pitcher. And again, he missed a lot of the games due to injury. The only time when I really saw Hong Chi being very, very good was 2010 when he was their setup man. What was like the most dominant relief pitcher the Dodgers have ever had, or something like that. And he made the All Star game, like the first Taiwanese to ever pitch. So far, the only Taiwanese player to ever make it to the game, and he actually pitched an inning for
Really?
the National League.
I never
Um,
really thought about that.
well, yeah, us Taiwanese
Yeah.
baseball fans don't have a lot to remember because of our limited history in the league. So these things kind of pop out.
Yeah.
But yeah, Hu Qinglong is another one. for the Dodgers. But yeah, okay, he didn't get a lot of opportunities. So
Nah,
it was mostly the Yankees. I actually A-Rod was my first player to ever fell in, like he was the first guy I identified and really liked
really?
because there was so many Yankee games on TV rather than Dodgers games.
Okay.
And then when you started going into, that's Derek Jeter, that's Bobby Abreu, that's Jason Giambi, that's Johnny Damon, you don't switch teams anymore.
Yeah.
Like when you started to identify your teams, like the players on your team, that it's just not. And the Dodgers weren't on TV enough, so
Hmm.
yeah,
So when I was living in South Korea, anytime an MLB game, like a Korean pitcher was starting, they would show those games live. Or if there was
yeah,
a Korean batter that would, be starting, his games would be shown live.
yeah,
Is that the same thing in
yeah.
Taiwan?
Yeah, that was exactly even when Cheming Wong was pitching, they were even showing games when Wong wasn't starting. Well, because you're a starter, like you're not gonna see them every day. But when Wong was on the team, they were playing every single game on like that Yankees were playing. Even the year that he got injured, which was 2008, even that year when he missed like 60% of the season, after the injury, they were still playing because that's the only way you get ratings. Kong Chi Ko wasn't pitching.
Mhm.
Hu Jinglong wasn't hit. Like they weren't giving him plate appearances. And also one thing I think that drove me to the Yankees more than the Dodgers was that the Dodger game starts at 10 a.m. Taiwan time, which I would be at school. But
Yeah.
then but because the Yankee game starts at like 7 a.m. Taiwan time, like I can catch the first inning before I go to school.
Yeah.
So so yeah, so yeah, no, they play even now. They play a lot of Indians games,
Oh
which
yeah.
will be the Guardians next year. And they play a lot of Shohei Otani games nowadays.
Oh really?
So yeah, so that's what I heard. But yeah, that normally that's how you get ratings. So else then it's hard to make money.
Gotcha. So you were living back in Taiwan. It was last year, right? It
Yeah,
feels like it's been forever.
yeah,
You were working for the CPBL,
yeah.
Chinese Professional Baseball League, and you actually started buying baseball cards, the CPBL cards over there as well.
Yeah. Infield Fly Girl, who's commenting on this stream,
Yeah.
she sucked me in,
Oh, it
kind
was,
of. So last year, the CPPL always released the cards like 2 years
yeah.
after the
It's
thing.
weird, but the
Yeah,
things are worth it. So I'm
yeah,
not complaining because the cards are beautiful. So
yeah. I agree. I think the CPPL cards are actually really, really nice.
yeah,
They
affordable.
yeah. And last year, when the 2019 cards came out in December, a lot of we have a separate CPPL fan group chat. I know Justin, you were in it for a second. Um, um, there were people asking me to help them pre-order, and then for one person, the pre-order limit was so 5 pack is basically a box, but they don't come in a box.
Yeah, they come with the like
Plastic wrap or
plastic
something.
wrap around them. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a box, but they call it a box. So the limit for one person to buy is 10 boxes. And after I accumulated everybody's orders, it was 9 boxes. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get one box for myself. The first card I ever drew, so I picked one box out of random. Like I didn't want to. The first card I ever drew was national team Wang Wei-chen card, the guy on the Brothers playing third base, the captain of this year. And the reason why that card is not just it's a special national team card, or like it was a Premier 12 card. The reason why that was so special was because Wang Wei-chen was the all tournament third baseman of the Premier 12. So like I was like, oh my god, like that's the first card. Like wow. The first 5 packs, I remember when I opened them, I was really happy about them.
Mhm.
Now looking back, I still remember taking that photo. I went back to that photo. It was really average, probably even below average. But I was happy at the time. And then I went back. So what happens is you do pre-order,
Mhm.
and then if they have leftovers, they sell all over 7-Elevens in Taiwan.
Yeah,
I
that was what I was going to ask you about next.
Yeah, yeah. So and then I found one that still had some cards left. So I went back and I bought another 5 packs. And then I bought like a small blind binder thing. So like that's all I had for like a good few months. And then I mailed everybody's cards back to the US. And then when I came back here, I was like, you know what? Since I'm here and it's easier to mail each other, I'm just gonna start trading with each other. But there's only so many CPPL fans in the States. So like the trading kind of went on for like a month and it kind of died down because there's so many fans that have CPPL cards or want CPPL cards. So that's kind of how I started the whole card thing.
So when I was trying to figure out how to buy CPBL cards, I was looking at everything I could find on the internet, and
Yeah,
basically all I could find was you have to basically you buy them at a 7-Eleven,
yeah,
where it showed a lady. She went into the 7-Eleven. She like found what she wanted on a kiosk,
yeah,
and you selected it on the kiosk. It spit out a ticket, and then you took it to the cashier, and
yeah,
then you would go back and get those
yeah.
uh, items for you.
Uh, I think that's the pre-order. I'm not sure what year that your video was. The video that you
Oh,
saw.
that was, I think it was like maybe the 2015 or
Yeah.
2016 cards, because I don't know if you know this, but the packs of CPBL cards used to be little cardboard boxes,
I
and
didn't know that. No.
yeah, it was way easier to open them up than the
The
actual
fact.
the cellophane, or
Yeah.
whatever it is.
So, so what you do? So at 7-Elevens and at all convenience stores in Taiwan, there's a kiosk, and so like you can buy everything. Like if you need a high speed rail ticket, you can go there and buy them. Um, and one of the items it would like when they're selling CPPL cards, one of the items would be CPPL 2019 baseball cards, and then that's when you put in the thing, and then what happens is um, credit cards are actually very rare. Not very rare. It's much more conventional for Taiwanese to use cash than it is to use credit cards because our debit cards
Mhm.
don't have Visa or Mastercards on them. So you
Oh,
can't use a debit card like a credit card. So and they only give credit cards to, you know, I mean for me I don't have a job in Taiwan yet, so I can't really get a credit card.
okay.
So you use cash a lot more, et cetera, et cetera. So you go to the kiosk, you put down your order, and they basically reserve it for you for like what 10-15 minutes. You take and then they give you a receipt. You take the receipt to the cashier, and the cashier scans it, and then they tell you how much you owe them, and then you pay them the money. So that's how I bought the pre-orders. Now when it's the actual when after the pre-order and it's like you're going to the store to buy the things at the store when they have stocks, it
Mhm.
would be actually like it would be exactly what you see in card shops at the cashier, where like they have like boxes with like different like a lot of packs on them
Okay.
in them, and then you just grab as many as you want. Oh, that's how I got it. That's how I bought them.
No.
And it's just so, and they will sell like Pokemon stuff or like other stuff. Like they'll just put a few next to him. Um, so that's how I bought them. But I'm not sure. Like after the pre-order, I don't think. So what happens is you buy the pre-order, they give you a receipt, and they tell you, okay, keep this receipt, and then by the next time, when you come like in a month, you come back, take the receipt, and then we'll go to the back and grab your boxes for you.
Oh,
What
wow.
happened?
They actually
Yeah,
hold it.
yeah, they hold it. They hold it for you. They don't mail it to you. You have to go to the store that you ordered it from to do it. So actually what funny what's happened? What, I kept the wrong receipt. So they give you a receipt and they give you a exchange paper, whatever you call them,
Yeah.
slip, the exchange slip. I actually threw away the exchange slip thinking that the receipt was good enough. And I got there and they're like, no, this is not it. I'm like, well, this is all I have. And they're like, let me check the back. So they went to the back and they came out, they're like, two people ordered the cards at this store, so and I can't tell which one is yours. So you can come back in 3 days, and maybe the other guy might have picked it up, so I know this one is yours. The other one is yours. So I had to wait another couple days before I actually got those, and it was nerve wracking because those are not like 90% of them weren't mine. 90% of them were, somebody else's. So I kind of got scared that I might have effed it up, but thankfully I still got the cards.
So that makes complete sense now, because the video you helped edit for me was the CTBC brothers.
Yeah.
They released some cards,
Yeah.
and the card store in Taiwan that I go through, it took me almost a month before I could get my packs, because they said they were at I think it was like a 250 pack limit a day, and with the time difference, I
Yeah.
have to get up at 1 or 2 in the morning to email these guys, be like,
Yeah.
"Put me on the list so
Yeah.
I can get these packs." And I was doing this for like 3 weeks, getting up at 1 in the morning for these stupid baseball cards, man.
Well, it's better than getting up at 1 a.m. to do broadcasting, commentating for CPBL games.
Yeah, well, I mean that's probably a lot more fun, because other people that's in the chat are probably like, "Why would you get up so early for brothers cards?" But,
Yeah. No, the brothers card looks really good. I actually, I told, like I said earlier, my mom and my sister came, and there's a Taiwanese eBay called Shopee.
yes, which I'm familiar with. I had to again, when I was in Korea.
Yeah.
That's when they had the 2017 World Baseball Classic.
Oh yes.
One of the pools there.
Yeah.
And so Team Taiwan was going to play there. So I again trying to figure out how to buy these cards. So I had to go through I forget what it is, but I found some lady that lives in Taiwan and asked her. I was like, I found the listing, and I'm like, this is what I want. Can you please translate it for me?
Yeah.
So I know that I'm not paying $30 just for one card.
Right. Yeah.
The set,
Yeah. Yeah.
And it worked out. The cards came to me in a brown paper bag, but I got the cards. I was able to get them signed, and she was great. So
yeah. I was told that Shopee's sketchy because all the sellers are unauthorized, just like eBay. Basically, eBay. My mom isn't the biggest fan of like eBay or unauthorized sellers. But yeah, so I ordered some CC Lee cards, brother CC Lee cards, and a few Asian Championship national team cards from there. So yeah, I saw a couple of the brothers cards. They actually look really, really nice, and I really, the brothers are actually really good at like making them available. The monkeys, the Rakuten monkeys, make some of them, but as far as I know, a lot of them are more cheerleader cards than they are player cards. But the brothers are really good at the brothers. I would say the CTBC organizations probably spent the most effort into their team. The Fubon Core is also one of them, but the CTBC brothers front office know what they're doing, and they're really nice bunch of people.
I'm just laughing at the comments and Phil Fly Girl. So.
Yes, go Monkeys! Best team. And what's the record again? I actually just did research. The Monkeys are 20-6 versus the brothers in a Taiwan series in the last 7 years. So go Monkeys! Go 20-6.
But I mean, it's fake baseball, though, right? Really, But so going from fake baseball to real baseball, how are you feeling after today, game 162, as a Yankees fan? You're in,
We should be, and we have a $200 million payroll. Actually, yeah, go ahead.
Me as an Orioles fan, it's also a big day for celebration because we have clinched the #1 draft pick in the draft the next year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We were neck and neck with the Diamondbacks
I
for
know. I saw that. I saw
the
that.
battle for futility, and you would not believe how many Arizona Diamondback fans are really pissed off that they won their game today
Well,
because it cost them the #1 draft pick.
it's interesting to me because when was the last time a first pick in the MLB draft really turned out to be really good besides Bryce Harper?
Carlos Correa, I want to say he was #1 overall.
But my point is, like, when was the last time the MLB draft? Like,
Strasburg.
I'm gonna explain this way. When you look at an NFL player or the NBA player, the commentator goes, "This guy, let's say Trevor Lawrence, first pick of the NFL draft. You know, that's how good he is." You never hear an MLB commentator tell you how talented or how good of a player is based on their draft pick.
Well, I think it's because MLB, you get drafted, you're not going to play in the majors because of service time manipulation, cheap owners, stuff like that.
Yeah,
And so
that's
maybe
my point.
years at the earliest.
That's my point. Like, so that's what I'm looking. Like,
Yeah,
talking to Diamondback fans, like, it doesn't really matter. Like, yes, it's great to have the first pick, but maybe because I'm not a draft person, MLB draft person, I cannot name a single first pick ever besides Bryce Harper because he made it through the league in like 7 months. Made it through the minor leagues in 7 months. You know, like you just don't like a second pick of the draft can probably have the same amount of same amount of success rate as a first pick. Like, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. You know, like the guy still has to go through a first round pick has to go through the minor league system the same way as the 12th round pick. Or I don't know how many rounds they do. As a 7th round pick has to go through the minor league system. So in my opinion, congratulations on the first pick.
Thank you. Thank you.
But maybe because I'm a Yankee fan, we never look at the first round, the first pick of the draft.
Yeah, nah. But the way I seen it explained was it basically cost the Diamondbacks $20 million because with the typical WAR, they were using analytics to make their case. So the typical WAR of a #1 overall draft pick is like 2.3 or something. And to replace that, you would probably spend around 20 million. So
again, that is such a. I mean, there's no guarantee that guy's going to turn into anything.
No,
but like that's just on average, right? So
yeah, and it's the Diamondbacks. They don't spend a lot of money,
and neither do the Orioles. So it doesn't.
Well, we actually used to, man.
I know. I remember. I know the good days. I was briefly Orioles fan.
Back in the day when we were kicking the Yankees' ass on the regular.
Remember back in the day when Ichiro actually, like ninja ran around your catcher in Game 2 of the ALDS like he's a pro and would still make every single highlight of a division, like of a playoff compilation.
I don't remember that ever happening. I think you were playing MLB The Show and you got it confused with real life.
No, it is.
So Justin Shin is right. They did overspend on Madison Bumgarner.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, and Zach Greinke.
Yeah, Greinke wasn't bad.
But if you're a small market team like Diamondbacks, you kind of and they're not. The Orioles had success right earlier in last decade, right? So they made enough money during those days. Diamondbacks haven't made money at all, so they need to have somebody to sell tickets. The same way that the Marlins spent all that money on Stanton. And I feel like the Stanton contract made sense for the Marlins because they needed to sell tickets. Yes, that the Ichiro play, that was when Wei Chen was on the mound. Robinson Cano rips one down the right field line. Ichiro scores from first base. He was out by like 10 feet, but he went around the catcher. I don't know, maybe it was Matt Wieters. And it will be on every single playoff compilation highlights on, because he was out by 10 feet, but he made it.
Yeah.
But he was
So,
safe.
I will do something you should not do during a live stream. I have a piece of memorabilia that I don't think you've ever seen. Oh,
Yeah.
and Justin Chin is probably really going to love this. So I'm going to grab it from my closet, and you get to stare at my stupid wall real fast. But give me a sec.
All right, I'm gonna use this time to promote my Rants with Danny G podcast, which came out. A new episode came out today. I'm talking about the monkeys and the Wagering Dragons. But yeah, I want to see your memorabilia.
So this is a Baltimore Orioles civil rights game jersey. And then there's so yeah, civil rights game. But I don't know, the name is not on the back of the jersey, but I think you'll recognize the number.
I forgot what number Wei Chen was. Was he 16?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is Wei Chen's jersey from the 2014 civil rights game. So yeah.
Did you mention that game, or I don't
I don't know. I would have to look up the hologram, but yeah, you'd be surprised how cheap you can find Orioles game use stuff. I don't think he actually pitched on the game or in the game, so it's labeled as team issued, even though he wore it.
Yeah.
And I've debated on maybe sending it to Japan to try and get it signed, but yeah, I'm a little.
I don't know. It's a long way to get there. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I send a lot of stuff to Japan, and their postal service is way better than ours. It is extremely bad.
Yeah.
I've sent cards there and got them back within, I think the fastest is 2 weeks.
Wow, that's really good. Wow. Yeah.
But anyway, before I got off the rails, game 162, Yankees fan, you're in. They actually, from what I read, they said we will go to Boston.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to Boston.
Yeah. They had a choice, and they chose Boston.
No. We didn't have a choice. No.
If all 4 teams got in.
Maybe. But no, it was because the Red Sox won 10 out of 19 versus the Yankees this year. So they clinched home field, which makes me even more mad, because if the Yankees had won 2 versus the Rays, or has won 1 more game in any other, like, we had 12 really bad losses this year, and if we had won 1 of them like we should have, we would have been hosting the wild card. And after we won, and then I was super happy, and then I thought about, and that was about when the Red Sox just tied it up, and I kind of knew, like, the Nationals, I didn't think the Nationals were going to beat the Red Sox. If the way that the Red Sox came back, I didn't think the Nationals had more in them to get the lead. So the thought of going to Fenway Park to play that game really sickened me. And then I tweeted that, and there were Yankee fans that said, no, it's fine. It's better that it's in Fenway because Stanton homered there in the last 3 games in Fenway, and also the fact that the Red Sox probably have more good lefty batters, that the short right porch is better. Yeah. And my point of it is, you can look at it the analytical way, but if it's a 9-inning game, analytics, I don't trust analytics in a 9-inning game. The point of a 9-inning game, analytics won't work better in the long term when it's a 162-game season, because you minimize outliers. But what if all the outliers happen in 1 game, which is very likely because it's a wild card game in the loudest ballpark, in one of the loudest ballpark in the league, in the most heated rivalry in the league, and the Yankees aren't. The Red Sox weren't supposed to be in the postseason, where the Yankees spent $200 million a year to be in a wild card on the road versus, So to me, like, one game is like a one game playoff is when momentum, which the Red Sox had because they swept the Nationals and the Yankees lost 2 out of 3, and the crowd and the noises can all have the largest impact on the game, and you want to have that advantage rather than not having it. And if it's Fenway, they're gonna be loud.
Oh
They're
yeah.
gonna be they're gonna be on everybody's butts against the Yankees. So I didn't like. I just don't like playing on the road in a one game playoff, especially if it's in Fenway. If it's in Toronto, whatever. Like they don't mean anything. But if it's Fenway Park, bro, like no, I don't want to play there. I don't want to play there.
Yeah.
And the thought of losing to the Red Sox, which is going to happen because Alex Cora is such a better manager than Aaron Boone. And also, we pitched our bullpen today, so I don't think they're. Anyway, I'm not looking. I don't think the wild card will be any good. And I was happy for a second when we clinched it today, but thinking about the amount of money we spent on this team,
Yeah.
To have this result, I don't like. It's it's the happiest I can be, but if you tell me, I don't know how to say this. Like, it's the happy, saddest day, because if you tell me before the season that not only you're only gonna make the wild card, but you're gonna be going on the road to a Red Sox team that was supposedly going through a rebuild because they traded away Mookie Betts. I'll be very disappointed. So it's a very, I don't like it at all. Unless that's why I was rooting for chaos, because if the Mariners and the Red Sox had to play, not the Mariners, the Blue Jays and the Red Sox had to play another game, at least in a way you have an advantage.
Mhm.
But you don't even have that, and now you have to go on the road. So
I didn't know that I was going to get you this fired up, so I apologize because
no, it's good. It's good. It's part of being a fan. So
yeah, and it's nice to see this side of a Yankee fan after the dynasty, or the core four and all that stuff.
well, that's the thing. Like, I started in 2007, 2008, so I've seen one championship out of the last 21 years, and we spent $2.5 billion. I understand it's not my money, but it's just the the expectation, because you spend. Oh, not I don't go to the games,
Mm,
but the Yankees charge more money on tickets.
yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
and other teams make money off the Yankees because
yeah, right. So
they call it premium pricing.
right,
When
so
the Yankees come to town, the tickets are
yeah, they go up.
yeah, they're more expensive.
Yeah,
But I mean,
yeah.
as an Orioles fan, though, the last time I was alive during their last World Series win, I was only 2, but the videos that I've seen, it looked really awesome. So at least you can, remember
Yeah.
the
At
championship.
least ours championship was in black and white. I mean, as in color,
Yeah. Yeah,
right?
it was. It
No,
was.
I'm
It
kidding.
was not depending on how you rotated your bunny ears, or
Yeah,
stuff like that. But
yeah.
yeah. But yeah, you totally got me off track, man. So and your podcast, Rants with Danny Shih, it's
Yeah.
a great name because you just did it. Yeah.
Yeah, I just did it. I've been more I've been more calm on the
Yeah.
show. Um, Probably because I cover the CPBL more now, and I need to be a little bit more reserved on those matters. Um, when I first started, my first football season with Rance. I don't really care about the NFL that much. I watch. I don't care deep enough to rant about it. I do care about Texas enough to rant about it. In my first year with the podcast, did I start my Kyler? Yeah, I started. Yeah, my the first football season, like it was the the season when we played LSU, and it was like, oh, we're going for the national championship. We were like in the top 10, and then we crashed and burned and went like got an 8-5 record. So a lot of rants there.
I think my Terps beat you guys that year, right? Or was it the next
No,
year?
that was the year before. Um, and actually, it's funny you mentioned the Terps. My first ever football game, like ever, like I didn't
Yeah.
watch a single football. I only watched Cowboys highlights before that.
Okay.
Um, and when I committed to Texas, all my counselors was like, "Oh, the football is huge there. Like you're gonna love it." I get here, everybody's telling me about like you have to go to the football game, you have to buy the student ticket. Texas football is really good because we just hired Tom Herman, so it's supposed to be like a fresh start. And my first ever football game was Texas versus Maryland at Austin, Texas, and it was a 51-41 loss for Texas, but it really was a 17-point loss because the last it was we were favored by 17. We basically lost that game by 17 because besides that one touchdown with 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And also, that game started with a Texas pick six at the 25-yard line. And so when that happened, I was like, oh my God, like we are really good. And then we started not being good. I think we had a field goal block that ran back for a touchdown. And all kinds of crazy stuff happened. And we lost but at that point, I just went, oh, it's a great it's a great atmosphere to be in. Like, oh, I didn't really care that we lost. It sucked, but I didn't care as much as I would care about the Yankees losing to the Orioles, because the Orioles are such a bad team. But
Good against
um,
you guys, though.
um, but yeah, and then but afterwards, when I saw other people reacted, and way afterwards, when I started to really get into like the history, the traditions of Texas, I started to understand more and more of why people were so pissed at the stadium that night. And obviously, the following year, we went to DC, and we actually got the football gods helped y'all out, because if there wasn't a rain delay in the third quarter, we would have had come. But it doesn't matter. Like, it's way down the line. So
Yeah.
it had happened. And yeah, we're 0-2 versus the Terrapins in the last
Yeah.
7 years or something.
So I'm assuming coming from Taiwan, you had no idea about American football or really didn't even care.
Um, I started watching First Take when I was a sophomore. That was when Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith were still on the show.
Mm.
Yes. And 24 it was 2014, and the Cowboys had a really good team. That was the Des Bryant catch year when they didn't rule it a non-catch, but it was really a catch.
Yeah.
And so that team was a really good team. Des Bryant, DeMarco Murray, Tony Romo, and they talked about it every single day on First Take. And I was watching First Take um, uh, because I started watching First Take because of Jeremy Lin. They were talking about Jeremy Lin. I just kind of watched a few other segments. I thought it was really funny to see them react to football games. So I started to watch a little bit of. I knew about the Cowboys football, watched highlights of them beating the Seahawks and beating at the time it was called the Redskins, and stuff like that. So as I watched more highlights, I kind of knew what was going on.
Mhm.
Um, like, what does first and 10 mean? What does second and 20 mean? What does third and 7 mean? So I knew like each, like you have to make a first down and stuff like that. Um, so I knew enough what to like when I watched the Texas Maryland game. I knew what was going on.
Mhm.
Um, but obviously, I know more about football now, probably a little bit marginally more than I did back then. But no, football is is such a marginal sport outside. Like I don't even try to explain to people how small football, like American football, is. People are
Yeah.
saying, "Oh, Tom Brady's a global star." I'm like, you go outside of this country and then you ask 10 people who Ronaldo or Messi is, 7 of them probably will tell you who they are, like know who they are. If you mention Tom Brady, I don't think 1 or 2, besides like that 1 or 2 American that you meet, you go like, oh yeah, Tom Brady,
It's
Patriots
funny
guy.
that you mention Tom Brady because I can probably drop an F bomb. I think my kids aren't watching right now. They usually don't anyway. But it reminds me of an Ichiro story. It was something like Ichiro was getting a call or he got a text message from
Yeah.
Tom Brady, and he went up and asked someone, "Who the fuck is Tom Brady?" So, yeah,
Yeah.
if Ichiro doesn't know who you are, you're not that important. So
No.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't even think I knew Tom Brady before I got here.
yeah,
And I was probably one of the more American person in, Taiwan or something, but
yeah. And honestly, I mean, did they even show the Super Bowl in Taiwan?
I haven't been in Taiwan during the Super Bowl in a very like during the Super Bowl period in a very long time. But generally, the Super Bowl happened during Chinese New Year, so
Oh,
I don't think so. I think it's on one of those premium channels where you have to pay extra. It's
mm,
kind of like the Taiwanese version of like ESPN Plus, but
no,
like not on cable. But it's on cable, but you have to pay extra for that cable, like
gotcha.
ESPNU or something.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So basically, the NFL would have to sign a Taiwanese player for it to even get shown in Taiwan. So that kind of shows you how small the NFL really is in the scale of things.
Rugby is more popular. Rugby is more of a sport in colleges nowadays. I
Yeah,
think because my dad was telling me about how their college had like a intramural rugby team
and you're
or
talking
club
about in
rugby
Taiwan,
in
correct?
Taiwan. Yeah, so I think Japan has a pro American football team league, but it's also very marginal. Yeah, you look at across the NFL. Besides Australian kickers or punters, I don't think there's anybody from abroad. So
The Falcons, maybe is it Falcons? Yeah, I think South Korean kicker, uh,
yeah,
Young Ho.
okay. Well, I know TCU had an Asian kicker when I was a sophomore year.
Oh,
Um, but yeah, again, like kickers and punters, those are probably more of like you probably get more international players because you can translate, Australian was it Australian footy, Australia, what's the
Australian.
Aussie football?
Yeah,
Yeah, though, like you can translate that to a punting or a kicker in American football very well. Michael Dixon, UT grad, is at Seattle, probably one of the best uh, punters in the league right now. He actually won game MVP of our bowl game that year. A punter won MVP. Um, uh, yeah, I mean, he was Australian. So a lot of foreigners, I think, are more punters and kickers. But yeah, it's I understand it's big in many places here, but it's
yeah.
not a global sport by any means.
Nah, because even like say you go somewhere in the South where they don't have NFL teams and they don't care about the NFL, they care about
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah,
So I mean, if you can't even really take over your own country, then yeah,
yeah,
you're not you can't be global, I
yeah,
guess. But anyway, uh, this has been a super fun show. It's already almost an hour. I can't believe
yeah,
but I have to get the little one in the bath.
yeah.
It is a school night.
Right.
So
Yeah,
yeah. But thank you for filling in and
yeah.
coming on.
No.
What do you got to plug?
I plugged it. It's rants
Do it
with
again.
Kenny.
Do it again. Do
Yeah,
it.
I did it. Yeah, but watch the CPBL. Buy CPBL TV.
So
Taiwan
okay.
series starts in a month.
Uh, yeah. How do folks living in the states watch CPBL if they're not following Infield Fly Girl? how would they find out how to watch the CPVO?
Well, first of all, subscribe to CPPL on Twitter. And if you Google search CPPL TV, the first link that pops up will be the CPPL TV website. As far as I know, the entire website is in Mandarin. So there's a tutorial written by CPPL Stats. It's really, really good at buying CPPL TV. It is, I think right now it's like $12, $13 because of the half season discount program. And you get to see every single game live or in archive, or every single game that is in archive, which started in 2014, plus all the games that the brothers lost in the Taiwan series. Yeah, so it's a great deal if you love baseball, you're looking for baseball outside of the MLB. Yeah, CPBL TV it's very accessible. As soon as you buy it, there's no other things you have to do, and there's no blackout. So it doesn't matter where you are. You don't need to use VPN to watch it or anything. So yeah, I think in my opinion, it's a very good tool to watch baseball.
A very good service to use if you're a baseball fan, and I believe Iowa, because aren't they blacked out from 3 or 4 major league
7 teams or something? I don't know. Yeah,
something ridiculous. But yeah, also free minor league games too. And how long is the season running till?
This year the Taiwan series are probably gonna start in late November to early December because of COVID. There was a 2-month hiatus due to COVID between May and July.
Mm-hmm.
So last year we got really excited about Halloween baseball because the Taiwan series actually happened after the World Series and it was during Halloween. This year it will be closer to Thanksgiving baseball / Christmas baseball.
Yes.
Yeah, I was told that the Taiwan series might not start till December. So it's going to be exciting. It's going to be very, very exciting because Taiwan, like in December, it's still very, very much okay to play baseball weather-wise.
Yeah.
So, and then right after the Taiwan series, the teams have to turn it around and prepare for 2022.
Yeah, so. And then you also have they doing the the Asian Winter Baseball League?
I doubt it because of COVID. I really don't think so. Last year didn't happen because of COVID. And also, I just don't think the CPPL has enough time because normally it's in December. It's like normally a 3-week or 4-week thing. But this year, because of COVID, it's hard to invite people from abroad to say, hey, you have to come to play baseball, but you have to also be in quarantine for 14 days before you can get outside. So I don't think I wouldn't bet on it. But yeah.
Cool. Well, again, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for hosting.
Yeah, no, this is the most active the chat's ever been. So, and this is, the first time you've been on for a while. So 2 and 2, it's got to be you. So this might have to be a regular thing. So
okay, yeah, no problem. I'm free I'm free a lot of the time. So especially Sunday night. So you're good.
Yeah, because you're not watching the football.
No,
so.
not yeah. Exactly.
But anything else besides your podcast? Everybody sees the Twitter handle right over.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
And Texas football, go hook 'em horns.
There you go.
They're not playing Terrapins anymore.
No,
I wish they do.
You guys left the Big 10 because Big 12, whatever it was. You guys wanted to get away from the Terps.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Thank you again. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
That I appreciate it, and we'll see you guys next week. Thank you.